Hello, and welcome. Name's Derek, and I sell physical media on eBay. I make videos about that kind of stuff. This is a What Sold video. Stop it. Good sales, not a lot. So I listed up the flatware that otherwise is flatware I've had either since or before we moved up here, and some of stuff that I got since we moved up here. It'll be the start of 6 years in August. If you have a lot of different patterns, and I used to sell, as a matter of fact, if you go to my YouTube page, my landing page, if you look at where I share my store, it's called Flatware Fanatic. I used to sell a lot of flatware. I'd say, I don't know how much really. A lot. I had a lot. And for a couple decades, I used to sell a lot of flatware. So, in another sense, flatware is very, very low cost of goods. Chances are you're either going to get it in a box with a set, and it's going to be mostly complete, might be missing a few. You could buy the few to make it complete and sell it as a complete set. You could get them in bags. You can go to different stores. They'll be in bins and yard sales. They'll just have a whole bundle. They'll be like $5. You can get these for 5, 10, 20 cents, 50 cents each, whatever it may be, in some patterns, especially teaspoons, not iced teaspoons, teaspoons. Those and salad forks can hold a lot. I mean, 50, 60, 80, $100 for one teaspoon. Yeah. And that is relatively close to what this kind of stuff here was. And I had a little more than what's in this. And I mean, I was selling two teaspoons for like $100 or $110 or something. But after a while, it just didn't. And I, throughout the year of this YouTube, I've sold a little bit of flatware, but I also haven't really bought any to add to it. And it's just something I don't want to deal with. You play with enough of it, your fingers are going to smell metallic. You could go through a bunch of flatware one day and your hands will still smell and even taste metallic for 3, 4, 5 days. That's not an issue, but it's just one of those. It is a great ROI. And I had these and probably 6 or 7 other patterns, and all the rest of those patterns and everything else that I have left should be able to fit in a flat rate box. And I have a pattern. Let me get it. A pattern ID book. So you can see just how dusty this is. So my scale that I use to weigh stuff up. So this sits on my table and my scale sits right on top. So this doesn't have dust. This does. It just shows on how much, and that's probably 5 pounds. So this is made in 1998. All right, so most patterns from 1998 and before are in here, and it has a cross-reference, so you can cross-reference specific names and some writings, and it has patterns, so if you're looking for a specific pattern index, right there. So these are going to be either Towl, Towle, right here. So I can go in this and just look up the pattern drama, which is what these are. Aren't no drama. So this is going to be on page 592. This right here. So I was able, by narrowing exactly the shapes and designs, and you can even go on replacements.com website, and the measurements for stuff will be fairly exact. So this Well, you can't see that, but see how it has that oval bowl? All right. So I will get the rest of the flatware I have. Let's see if this will fit in this box. It will make the box poop out by about that much. But I can get, at least I can get that and the rest of the flatware in the box and ship it out flat rate for, heck, I remember those things were like $6.45, like 20 years ago. The flat rate envelope was three something, like 380, 370 something. It was cheap. I don't know what the prices are. I mean, I haven't used flat rate or priority, let alone someone might buy a media item and bump up to priority shipping. But I mean, that's few and far between. And I still ship my media, but it gets sent out that day. And I mean, if I lived far west coast or far east coast, that'd probably be a different story. To send something from, let's say, Massachusetts to California, a seller might get dinged a few times here and there for late delivery if they're doing it the same way. I'm showing on my listings that it is ground advantage. It'll go out ground advantage, but it goes out media unless it needs insured and stuff. But it still gets to the buyers from where I'm at, and I'm 1,000 miles from, the capes of Massachusetts, right, from where I am in Ohio. So it only has about another 2,000 miles to get to California, Washington, maybe a little more for Alaska, right? All right. Flatware. If you don't want to sell media and if you want something else that's out there that you can pick up quantity, something that people buy a lot of, and there are a few bigger flatware sellers out there that no matter what I was getting, they'd always have a bunch of listings. However you want to price yours, it's, you can get it for 20 cents and an average selling price of $20 by average on it. It's a pretty good ROI, but you're going to need boxes in order to ship them in so they don't poke through any envelopes. Now, you can put them in a box and then put that box in a flat rate envelope that I used to do a lot, and I'll probably see what I could do to do that for these as well. And just wrap a piece of tape around the envelope. There's a stipulation on the envelopes for what you can't do. I don't think that you just can't like cover up the priority and stuff like that. But all right, it is a sales video, and with these two that went into auction, this drama is 182 for 48 pieces. Now this was auction, right? So if you were to sell it as a whole lot with the buy it now, or just sell individual pieces or enough pieces to get up to 8 ounces, because then you're going to be at the next ounce rate higher. If you go anything more than a certain amount, that's usually how I did it. So I kept that shipping pricing down. So a lot of people, especially if you have quantity, will come in and they'll just buy, let's just say if you have 2 spoons listed, they'll come in and buy 2 sets of that, right? So it has its pros and cons. But that was $182 for the 48 pieces, and they're $237 in. So I charged the full weight shipping for it, knowing I'm going to make money on the shipping. But it's also 99 cents, and it's quite a bit. And then this other one, the Saboteur, Saboteur is also another good brand. Toll, Supreme, a lot of Oneida, Lyon, Gens. That's actually where a lot of my flatware started at, is a pattern called Gens Focus. I was at the outlet store in Akron on Waterloo Road about 20 years ago. And so at that point, they had the far right, like the receiving part for the donations, part of that real small, was the outlet. And they would wheel, same way how they do, but it was just how it was then. And many years later, they moved to a whole other different building down the road. That was a pretty nice sized building for what it was. And it was media was like 29 cents a pound or 39 cents a pound or something. It was pretty cheap because you could get a bunch of, see, and at that point, a few years, well, when they were at that store on Arlington, I was doing more VHS. I wasn't really doing much of any other types of media. And even at that, there weren't many media sellers anytime I'd go there. And now it's back in the same building, but on the opposite side of where it was before. So as soon as you walk in, on the left-hand side is the outlet, which they probably have 8 rows maybe, and each row has 2 or 3, except for the media section, which they only have one of the big wheelie bins, real big ones, the big blue ones. But I don't get down in that area. And so my brother and my sister, or my brother and my sister lives a little more north of there, but my brother and my mom live down there. So if we're headed down that way, we're going to stop there. And those other thrift stores. So it's actually, you can go on Main, there's the Village Discount Outlet, and then the Goodwill is a handful of blocks down. And then you go all the way up north of 224, you pass up the blimp hangar, the Goodyear blimp hangar, pass that up, you take a right on 91, and then you're at another Goodwill, and you leave there and you go right back, and my brother is right around the corner, and then my mom is a handful of blocks down from there. But that's an hour from here. Wherever I was going with all that. Leadership. So this was the drama's about 240, and this is about 24. And the other ones are just going to get added up. Long-winded way of saying, look at flatware. All right, these frames, Juicy Couture, 27. Have a CD, which of course it's good. Well, this is. I'm looking for Scorpions Icon. Scorpions Icon, $16. So it's I won't say it's strange, but I had 4 Scorpions, the band, 4 Scorpion CDs. I picked up Mayfield quite a while ago. I listed a couple of them individually, and then there were 2. No, I picked up 5. And then there were 2 that were a little lower end, and then there was another one, Once Bitten, right? eBay kept taking that down because it has the word Scorpions in it, and Once Bitten, and eBay's automated logic was like, oh, you're trying to sell a pesticide. Although it's listed in CDs, although if my AI can see that doesn't look like a pesticide, but we're going to flag it anyhow. So they kept doing that, so I took all of them down, put them, well, what I had left, there was only 4 in this lot then, put all 4 in a lot, and I just kept that lot listed for like $60-$70. And I had to omit. Oh no, it wasn't, it was a Virgin Killer, is what it was, a Scorpion's Virgin Killer. And they're like, yeah, and we don't like those words. eBay was probably like, oh, that reminds me of somebody who has a big private island. So eventually I took them all down, listed them again, got on eBay or Facebook with eBay, and I said, this is the listing, do not flag it. This is what it is. And I went in there, and I don't know, like 20 minutes later, came back like, all right, well, the person, the department who's responsible for that was informed. They wrote back, they replied, yeah, cool, done. So that I don't know if that's still listed. It may have sold, but story of that one sold for $16. They have a DVD, 38. Around the World in 80 Treasures. Oh, all the way up front. Around the World, 80 Treasures. $11. And then someone came in and picked up 3 cassettes. I'll start with this one. Eurythmics for $11. This Bob Marley for 15, or Ziggy Marley. And then this Bob Marley for 17. So 16, 17, 33, 45, probably about $50 of a box that'll fit those perfectly. And that is 365 in sales, but 282 in product cost received, right? Because of the shipping for these. This is like 6 pounds, that's like 4 pounds or 5 pounds, so whatever that calculated shipping was to them. Gonna get my box of books done. I might take out the temperature is like 10 degrees outside. Tomorrow's gonna be 10, and sun is trying to peek out. 10 and sunny Fahrenheit, and tomorrow's gonna be 30s, and then I saw next week's supposed to have like a 42-degree day, and then get into 30s, and so far like the forecast is maybe sometime the last week of February might get another 10-degree day, and then last week of February we've all been around long enough that no March is after that, and when March comes around, so the winter temperatures are very well much subsiding. Maybe I'll go out tomorrow. But I want to get the books done. My box of books has accrued. It's kind of overflowing. And get some of those. There's, as far as I remember, there's no like real winners in there. But if every book that's in there, if all the way across the board it averages at $30 each, and there's 30 books in there, I'm waiting on putting up $1,000 of listable. That's why I have my pattern. When a box fills up or I get so many, 20, 25, 30 of one specific kind, that is my day. Books take a little longer, so that is usually to do 30 pictures and research and pricing and posting and all that. With all those, I'll be lucky if I'm done at 3. If I were to have 30 CDs, and as soon as I finish this and package and the video is posted and all that's all said and done, if I have 30 CDs and it'll be 10:30 by the time I start with pictures, I'll be done at 1. Books take quite a bit longer. More pictures, more specific research, more things like that. All right, so that's going to wrap that one up. Like what you heard, saw, because you learned. Flatware. I spent like 10 minutes talking about flatware. Look at some. If at any point you have any question about a brand or what have you, you can always type that up. If you want to confide in me about, this, I'll do what I can to answer books. There's an online replacements.com. To identify, you can Google lens with a lot of it. Most part, it's going to be fairly accurate. But again, I haven't bought flatware in years to where years ago I used Google Lens. I'm basing my fairly accurate off of that. I'm sure over the past 3+ years, it's gotten better. There's not many downsides with flatware, but it does add up. And if you have a couple hundred in a box, get ready to use these muscles, those ones, use them all, because 300 weighs quite a bit. 300 pieces could be easily 50, 60 pounds, depending what's in. I mean, you could have all nice, dense, heavy flatware in there. But okay, tell me anything you're going up. Comment down below. Subscribe, share. Those are all free. Help me so I can help you. Appreciate it. Thank you.